Welcome back to G Suite Training. This is a video on Google Drive. In this video, we'll learn how to create files and folders within Google Drive. We'll learn how to upload files from our computer to Google Drive. We'll go over some of the sharing permissions on the different files and folders within Google Drive. And then we will determine the difference between adding files versus making a copy of files within your Google Drive. There are several ways to get to Google Drive from Chrome. First, you could type in the Omni box up here, Drive, and that will take you to your Google Drive. The second way, and probably the most popular way, is to go to the tic-tac-toe board, click on it, and go to Drive. Once you're in Google Drive, let's just take a quick look at the landscape or the layout of Google Drive. On the left, we have our different types of drives and our trash and our recent. So real quick, what these are, My Drive is everything that you've created, files, folders, organized in one common space. You can see my area over here. These are the things I most recently have worked with. And below we have files and folders that I've created or copied. Now, if you go to recent, we could see all the things that I've been working on recently. And that's an easy way to pull up everything. If you want to go to your trash, if you deleted something, you can restore it there. And your starred area are all the things that you deemed important and you labeled by giving it a star. So these are some of the most common things. Once you get into a higher level of drive, you can worry about team drives and some of the advanced features. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to make a Google folder or a Google file from docs, sheets, forms, etc. Now I'm going to show you how to organize your Google Drive by making folders. I will show you how to put files into the folder, and I will show you how to create Google files within the folder. To make a folder, come up to this plus button, a multicolored plus button that says New. Click on it and click on Folder. Here we can label this folder 2019 test folder. Once you have named it, you can come over and hit create. Now that we've created this 2019 test folder, we can make files within that folder, or we can move files from within our drive into that folder. And I'm going to show you how to do both. If you know that you're going to create a file that's going to go into this folder, the easy way to do it is to go to your 2019 test folder, open it up, come up to the multicolored New button, click on it, and pick which type of Google file you want to make. Whether it's docs, sheets, slides, or you can go to more and you have more options down here. I'm just going to make a doc, and I'm going to call this test 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be the name of my file. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click out of this, so when we go into this test folder, you can see that test 1, 2, 3 is now in there, and that's an easy way just to organize your file. Now we could go back out to our drive, and what we're going to do is we're going to say that we have another file that we want to put into this folder, and we already made this file a while back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I created this file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we need to get that file into our 2019 test folder. There are a couple ways that we could do this. We can simply just highlight this with our clicker and go up to 2019 test folder, and we can drop it in simply like that, and it has been moved. Or what we could do is we could come back down to this file, which I just took out of the folder, and we can click on it. And this is a little bit longer, but this is another way of doing it. You could go to File, and you can go to Move To. And now your drive's going to come up, and here's our 2019 test folder. We can click on that and hit Move. So if we go back out and we go to our 2019 test folder, it should be waiting for us in our test folder here. So there's our file that we just put in there. Those are two different ways that we can organize our Google Drive. Let's say that we've made a Word file or an Excel file from years ago that we want to bring into our Google Drive, and we want to put into this 2019 test folder. I'm going to show you this file. It's on my desktop, and I made test ABCDE here. And I'm going to show you two ways to get that into this test folder. The first way is by coming up to next to the dash and the X, and what we're going to do is partially minimize the screen. We're going to click on this Word file, and we're going to bring it into our Google Drive. So I just drug it over to our Google Drive, and you can see that it is complete and it should be in our Google Drive. So I drug it over to the folder. We click on that folder, and as you can see, it's right there. Alright, so I'm going to delete this so I could show you a different way of bringing it in. So I'm in the folder in which I want it to be organized. I come up to the multicolored new tab, and I hit File Upload. When you hit File Upload, you could go to wherever it is on your computer. In my case, it's on the desktop, and test ABCD is the file, and I am going to start that upload, and it is complete, and here is my file. So those are two ways that you can upload a file from your computer or a USB or wherever it may be and put it into your drive. Our next task is to learn how to share our folder within Drive. So this 2019 test folder, if you right click on it, from the pop-up menu, you go up to Share. Here we have a couple options. We can get a shareable link by clicking on this and copying that link and putting it into an email or your own course, or you could type in someone's name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Nick Johnson, and I am going to share this with Nick Johnson. That way I could clutter his inbox. You're welcome, Nick. He has a couple options that I could set for him. One, he can organize, add and edit, or he can just view only. So if I just want him to be able to view it, I can click that, but I want him to be able to organize, add, and edit this, and we are going to hit send. Okay, so I shared this with one person. As you can see, the folder went from blank to a little guy on here, so that means that I shared it successfully with somebody else. Now, I want you to pay attention to the files that are inside, because when you share a folder, everything inside gets shared with it. So you can see the people icon up here, meaning that this file is shared with somebody else as well. Our last task is to distinguish between a shared with me file that I move to my drive versus making a copy of a file and moving it to my drive. So I went back to my drive, and actually I'm going to go into the shared with me drive. I'm going to go into 2017 Blended Learning PD, and here's a file down here that Nick Johnson shared with me. So since he shared this document with me and we're sharing this folder, if I want to move this file into my drive, and I could do that just by dragging it and putting it into my drive. One thing that you have to note here is that I'm just putting his file into my drive. He still owns it, it's still his, and if he decides that he wants to delete it down the road, it's also going to delete from my drive. Now if I want to keep this file forever, and even if he deletes it, what I need to do is make a copy. So for both of these, if you just want to add it to your drive, you could drag it over, or you could right click on it and move to, and you could find your Google Drive, and you could just move it there. If you want to make a copy of it, so you have this copy, you could edit it, you can make it your own, and if the person sharing it with you decides to delete it, you won't lose it. You could hit make a copy, and then what that's going to do is create a copy of it. And notice over here the owner is me, and it's no longer Nick Johnson. So from there, now I could take that, which is my file, and I can move it into my drive by dragging it, which is the easy way, or you can right click and hit move to. Well, I hope you enjoyed this G Suite training tutorial on Google Drive. In this tutorial, we learn how to create files and folders, how to organize them, how to upload files from our computer, how to share permissions on our files and folders, and we learned the difference between adding files from the shared drive versus making a copy of a file from a shared drive and moving it into your drive. If you have any questions on this stuff, make sure you reach out to one of your tech specialists in your building.